YouTube cooking channel. On today's session, I have Afghan cuisine for you guys, and the name is called Kabuli Pulao, which is a rice cooked in a meat broth, and this time cooking with red meat. I had a previous recipe that I showed you guys on Kabuli Pulao as well, which is with chicken. So if you're interested in that recipe as well, I'll put a link for you guys below the video. So let's take a look at the ingredients and let's go to the recipe of Kabuli Pulao. The ingredients that we need for Kabuli Pulao, here I have is red meat, and I have two types of red meat. So I'll show you guys. So there's a beef with bone, which is a little bit over 1 pound. And I'm also using veal boneless, which is also a little bit over 1 pound. So you can do approximately 1 pound each. And it's important to have the red meat with bone in, because we need that flavor, and it does make a difference. Also need the rice. So I have my Afghan basmati rice here, which you can find in Middle Eastern stores, Persian stores, Afghan store as well. So I have soaked this for 3 hours, and I'm using about 4 cups of this. It does double its size. So let's go to the next step. Now for this recipe, I'm using pressure cooker, and I'm going to add about 1 cup of oil. It's very important that you have enough oil for this recipe. Next, I'm going to add about 2 large chopped onions. Alright guys, so it took me about 5 to 6 minutes to get the onions nice and medium brown color. And once you get to this color, you're going to add the meat. Once you have a chance to mix the meat with the onions very well, now I'm going to add about 3 teaspoons of salt, just enough so that I can use the broth for the rice as well. And at the same time, I'm going to add half a tablespoon of cardamom powder, just for the flavor and the smell of it. I'm also going to use 1 tablespoon of char masala. This is for the Afghan rice that we use. I'm going to use it on the meat. I already loaded a recipe for you guys on this. I'll leave a link below. So this is the char masala for the Afghan rice that we use. So I'm going to add this. Now I'm going to add 3 cups of water. I also have another pot here where I have my heat on high so the water can come to a boil. Now I'm going to add the rice that I had it soak. Of course, you have to drain the water. The meat has come to a boil, so I'm going to pressure cook this now. And I'm going to pressure cook this for about 15 minutes. Alright guys, so the rice is also ready. It took me between 8 to 10 minutes to bring this to a boil, and you can feel it that it's nice and tender. So that's when you know it's ready. If it's nice and hard, then you need to still let it get boiled. But because I soaked it for 3 hours, this should be good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the water. Alright guys, so in the same pot that I had the chance to drain the rice, I'm going to add it back. Alright guys, the meat is also ready. It's nice and tender here. Now what I'm going to do is separate the meat from the broth. Keep the meat on the side, and you need the broth for the rice. Make sure you taste for the salt. If there's not enough salt, please add now, because you'll be mixing this with the rice. Alright guys, so in the small pan, I'm going to add about half a cup of oil here. Next, I'm going to saute some carrots here. You can buy ready-made, or you can make your own. Just slice them thin and about medium size. I'm going to add this to the oil. And I'm using about 1 cup, just a little bit over 1 cup actually. Alright guys, so it took me about 3 minutes to saute the carrots. I'm going to add about 1 cup of raisins here. Now I'm going to add about half a cup of sugar to this and give this a good mix. Now I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder for the flavor, and it's very important that you do add. Please make sure that your heat is on a medium so it doesn't get burned. Alright guys, so I'm going to now add the broth. The broth is about 3 cups, so just spread. So make sure you guys that you give this a good mix inside out, and you will notice the change of the color on the rice as well. And I'll show you next step. Next here I have a wooden spoon that I'm going to use the back part of it and make a deep down here spot, so then when we steam this, the rice gets steamed from a deep down. Just 3 spots you're going to make here. Here I have is char masala again, which is the popular masala that we use Afghans for our rice. I have a recipe for this. I'll put it below the video. So I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of this. Next, I'm going to add the meat on the side here. Then I have this for garnish, which is the carrots with raisin. I'm also gonna put it on the other side of the rice here. And FYI, I don't use the syrup on the rice, so do not use the syrup. You can just, you know, throw this out in your sink. So just we need this part. Alright guys, so I have placed the pot back on my stove and I have my heat on high just between 3 to 2 minutes because it has little liquids. We want that to get rid of it. And now I'm going to switch it to very low heat, and with the Kabuli Pulao, you're gonna cover the top and let this get simmer for about 15 minutes, between 12 to 15 minutes, and some people leaves it between 20 minutes, so it's entirely up to you. It's not gonna burn it because you have your heat on a very low. Alright guys, so the Kabuli Pulao is ready. I'm going to separate the garnish and the meat, and then I'll give the rice a good mix before I serve it. Alright guys, once you get a chance to separate the meat and the garnishing of carrots and raisin, you're going to give your rice a good mix because you want to make sure all the flavors and the spices, the masala that I added, it's nicely mixed up before you serve. Guys, so here's an easy recipe on Kabuli Pulao, which is with red meat, and I have garnished it with carrots and raisins. And of course it's optional. If you don't like carrots and raisins, you don't have to put it in this recipe. We Afghans like to serve this with side of Afghan salad, Afghan chutney, which is the pickles, and Afghan Doogh it's called, which is the yogurt soda drink. I have a recipe on this. I'll put a link below for you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching today's session. Do leave me your feedback. I hope you all do get a chance to try this. And don't forget to share this with your friends and family. Do subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much. Until next time.